Zibby's Lounge. Come on to Zibby's Lounge. Come on to Zibby's Lounge.
Hi, I'm Ungazi, and you're welcome to another episode of the Zibby Show. It's an absolute honor to have you on the show, and I'm so thankful that you all decided to join me on this journey. It's an amazing feeling. I want to start by saying a huge thank you to everyone who tuned in, everyone who listened, who downloaded, who left feedback on last week's show. I really appreciate that. And of course, special thanks to our very wonderful guest, Patrick Sufo, international footballer from Cameroon, Olympic winner, AFCON winner, all-round great guy. It was hectic to get that interview done because he's such a busy person, but finally we got it done, and he's an amazing guy. Oh, and did I say, he's promised when next time in England, he's taking me out for a nice Cameroonian meal. Yay, I can't wait. I've tried Cameroonian food, tried the grills. I'm not a fan of grills, but when I had that, I was sold. It was absolutely amazing. So I can't wait to have that grilled fish. And I actually got some comments from, 3 or 4 people who wanted to know what aloha means. At the end of last week's show, I said aloha. And people were like, what does aloha mean? Well, I'll tell you what aloha means at the end of the show. Trust me, it's a really good thing. Very positive, very powerful. Yes. And I had my show for this week all planned out. But then, oh my God, you have to agree with me. It's been a very eventful few weeks in Nigeria. So much has been going on. And I said, you know what? Let's do a review. It's just 1 month into 2014 already. But geez, it seems like in Nigeria this year has been going on and on. Like there's just so much going on. Okay. So, Happy New Year, Nigeria. Is it possible that every January the government and the leaders just, give us like this new surprise that we go, what? Is that like a New Year's gift or something? Some of these gifts are not so pleasant, guys. Seriously. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a new year. Everyone is stressed. Everyone is broke. Everyone is thinking of how to lose weight because, they overindulged over the holidays. And then, bam, the government gives us a new shock. And at that point, people are just too tired. They're like, oh, I'm more concerned about, okay, how am I paying my kids' fees or how am I surviving till the end of the month? And people are a bit too tired to even speak out or, try to fight. I think it was 2 years ago. We got a New Year gift from the presidency. Guess what? No more fuel subsidy. It's been removed. Gas prices now 155 naira, was it? About that. Of course, we were all tired and exhausted from the holidays, but a lot of Nigerians did go out onto the streets to protest. Anyways, and then this year we had a huge surprise anti-gay bill. Yep, anti-gay bill that came up a short while ago. Man, do we have a lot to say about that. A lot. And then, of course, the missing 10 billion. Like, how does 10 billion just vanish? And why are people not in jail yet? Money can always be traced. Huge amounts like that definitely have to be moved one way or the other. Why is it missing? Till now, we don't know. And of course, the whole thing going on in River State, rubber bullets, rubber pellets, real bullets, everything. It's just so much to deal with. And it's just happened in less than a month. Come on, with all this, we definitely had to do a roundup of, what's been going on. So basically, we'll call this episode Happy New Year, Nigerians. All right. So let's talk about, the anti-gay bill. I'm not going to talk too much about it because we've got a show lined up and we have 2 human rights lawyers who are going to be on the show, as well as people who might have a little bit more knowledge about such issues to share them with us. It's a very sensitive issue. I feel like this is not the right time to bring it up. We've got a lot of problems, and with things like this, it's just like with most laws in Nigeria, they're open to be misrepresented, to victimize people, In Nigeria, if you have like a bad belly person around you that's, bad belly. Oh, right. Okay. I'll take a pause now. I got a message from a Greek viewer and she sends me an email and she says, she really loves the show, but she specifically referred to the Sterling Bank episode. She couldn't really follow what was going on because it was, so not anything she really knew about. And I understand that maybe sometimes because my audience is sort of tailored to not well, it's not exactly tailored to just Nigerians, but I've got a lot of Nigerians listening, you know. I need to also understand I've got lots of non-Nigerians listening as well as, lots of Nigerians in different countries. Actually, when I check my statistics, I've got like about 80% of the people who tune in to listen and download are actually outside Nigeria. I understand, we've got a lot of limitations, listening to an online radio show in Nigeria with lack of power, internet being so expensive and not exactly reliable. So there are a lot of issues that, come out of that. But Niger people, seriously, you guys need to keep up, yes? On ForShared, we've got a platform on ForShared where you can download and we make sure those files are as small as possible. So you've got files that are about 12 MB, 18 MB, which doesn't take anything off your smartphone allowance. So please try to go on ForShared. It's www.zibbyshow.forshared.com. We'll add a link. So you can always go on there. And if you can't afford to stream live because of the internet, usage or anything, you can always download from ForShared. Unfortunately, we can't do much about, the lack of energy, which is, what Melvin Odua talked about when he was here on the show some weeks ago. We talked about energy poverty, which is a serious problem affecting us in Nigeria. So we really hope, the One campaign and Melvin's work and, the work of anyone who can be involved in doing anything with it really can actually help us out a lot to improve the lot of Nigerians with regards to poverty. And of course, we've got different kinds of poverty, but in this situation, we're referring to poverty in the energy sector. It's, like I say, it's a huge problem. So basically, back to my Greek listener, I understand that, sometimes I use some terms that are distinctly Nigerian. So when I just do that, I'll try to, sort of explain to people that are non-Nigerians or Nigerians in diaspora who can't exactly tell what those words mean can have an idea. So I talked about bad belly. How do you describe bad belly? I think basically you can call a bad belly person a hater. Yes, someone that's envious, not a positive person, envious, jealous, and basically an unhappy person. Yeah. So I think you can call a bad belly person a hater. All right, back to the anti-gay bill. In Nigeria, all a hater has to do is just sell, hey, thief, hold on, and that person is gone. Because no one actually, the people on the street, those savage, bloodthirsty people, don't even care to see what that person stole. Don't even want to know if he actually did steal. All they want to know, oh, na thief, kill him. It also stems from the fact that people have lost faith in the police. People don't believe people are adequately prosecuted and tried by the police and the law courts because they feel like people with money and connections can always bite their way out of these problems. So I think that's part of the reason why people take the law into their hands. It's not just that reason. Like I said, some people are just bloodthirsty and savage. And of course, there's mob mentality as well. These are all things we'll discuss in further episodes of the show. But basically, with regards to this, someone just needs to give that shout, Natif, Holam, and that person is dead. If the police can't get there on time. It's a shame, but that's what happens. So with the anti-gay bill, what if one bad belly / hater is somewhere in the corner eyeing this person like, oh, that guy thinks he's so cool, right? Okay. And then maybe a random friend comes to see him and they're walking together and the person shouts, hey, Holam, nah, gay. Those people are gone. And, in such cases, innocent people die, and that's going to be a problem. I can assure you, knowing how Nigerians are, a lot of innocent people are going to be accused of being gay. Seriously, if a guy dresses well, they'll probably say he's gay. And the thing is, how do you prove if someone is gay or not? Because at the end of the day, no one has the right to take the law into their hands. You wait until such a person is tried in court. But what evidence can you bring to show that that person is gay? Are you going to go with a video camera? And the law extends to say, any person who is caught, or who is aware of such acts could also actually go to jail as well. So you, Mr. Evidence, trying to go with the camera, you're going to jail as well, right? It's a strange law, but we'll talk about this in depth, on subsequent episodes of the show. Alright, so let's talk about that missing money. Reminds me of Omarumi's song, the If You Ask Me, Now Who I Go Ask. Because that's really what's coming to my head, like, how does 10 billion vanish? Yeah, 100 naira can vanish in your house, but you have an idea of who's in your house at what time. So you've got your crew of suspects, but then it's 100 naira. There isn't exactly a trail. I mean, there could actually be a trail if you want to invest that much time and resources in it. But when it's 10 billion, are you kidding? That's a criminal, that's way more than a criminal investigation. That's I can't think if there's any word greater than that. Law people, help me out here. That's what it is. I mean, 10 billion naira is not going to be sitting down in 10 Ghana must go bags. No. It's got to have a trail. There's a trail. Who had access into what file? Who signed in? Who withdrew? What bank did it? Where did it go? Money always has a trail. It's only in Nigeria you hear that a full-blown Navy ship vanished one hot afternoon. We seriously have a lot of issues to work on. Trust me. I don't think the whole gay issue is a priority right now. But, we'll get back to it. Everyone is entitled to their views. And I'm more worried about the fact that people could be victimized, whether innocent or not. Has anyone been following all the drama going on in River State? Really. It's like a Nollywood movie. Not a very good script, but it's a Nollywood movie. It's a bit tiring and, oh my days. There's this guy on Twitter. He talks about Nigeria all day. I don't know how he does it, but he's got statistics, he's got links, he's got passion, but I wonder, dude, how do you cope? Because I'm not even kidding. You're thinking about the problems of my lovely country, it's enough to give anyone a headache. I'm not even joking. Thinking about it for 20 minutes gives me a headache already. When I'm working on the scripts for the show, it's like, oh my days. There's just so much. So I don't know how this young man does it. Wow. Even on Christmas Day, it's like, dude, come on. I like his passion. I like his drive, but I wouldn't want him to break down. Because trust me, having the weight of this country on your shoulder is a lot. I mean, sometimes I feel sorry for the president because it seems like, damned if I do, damned if I don't, It's hard, but when you choose to be a leader, that is expected. And you need to live up to expectation. Of course, there'll always be opposition. Some people would never be happy with certain things you do. Others would always be happy whatever it is you're doing for whatever reason. But the thing is, you cannot please everyone. Well, you can at least try to give them the basics. Yes. Energy poverty. Again, that's one of my major concerns. We'll take a short break now, and then when we come back, we'll have a lot more. Don't go away. And of course, this is nice Afrobeat music as always. And this one is going to Anastasia from Greece, who just loves Afrobeat.
You drive me crazy, baby.
Ting, ting.
You make my head go hazy.
Ting, ting. I'm tired of your talking, but it's time you start walking.
Why you they wound me, baby?
One ting, ting.
Go have for them sexy. I forgot why yours are no sexy. Ejina kegi me remo doti. Afu maka maza ginti, mala ginti, my baginti. Again in the megin we see maybe. I fought that for yesterday outside though. And if you don't know, I got the cellular phone no.
I'ma make you slow your tempo.
Baba make you up your game.
I must strike you, I won't let you go.
Come on, you're my heart.
I feel you know they feel my demo.
Boy, you make me lose control.
Come on tonight, go make you loco.
Come on, I can make you go low.
You drive me crazy, baby.
Ting, ting, yeah, baby.
You make my head go hazy.
Ting, ting, oh, oh. I'm tired of your talking, but it's time you start walking.
Why you they wound me, baby?
One ting, ting.
Hi, and you're welcome back to the show. Anastasia, that song was specially picked for you. When you sent me that email telling me how much you loved Afrobeats, I decided I was going to play something from Como. Great guy. You can find him on Twitter. It's at Comoblastic. That's KOMOBLASTIC. And that was Wantinti. I love that song. Como is a pioneer Nigerian musician. He's so talented and he's, really popular in the UK. Anastasia, follow him on Twitter. You can listen to more. And to everyone else, please follow him on Twitter and listen to a lot more of his songs. He's one of my favorite Niger artists. He's got so much power. Watching him perform on stage is electrifying. Trust me. All right, let's get back to our show. Now, I know I started on, not a very happy New Year thing, not a very happy New Year phase, but guess what? It wasn't all bad. Like, really, there's been some really, really good things. See, people can go back to school now, which is really good. Really good news for people going back to school, because I can't understand what it feels like being at home for so long, when you should be at uni and just sitting down. It's just unfair and it's wrong. I don't think strikes are the best way to go about it, because then the students suffer and they're the innocent party in all this. But, sometimes I guess you need to be tough. And it's a shame, about Professor Yayi's death. Condolences to his family. But, we're just really glad, students are back to uni. Well, students in some places. Some might not be going back to uni anytime soon. Yes. It seems like, nothing just is perfect for too long. Or I won't even use the word perfect. Nothing is just stable for too long. Unfortunately. Now we're talking about the students at Lagos State University. I don't know if a lot of you are aware of this, but apparently at Lagos State University, the fees cost 250,000 naira. And that's a state university. It's not a private uni. It's a state uni. 250,000 naira. For a lot of Nigerians. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot of Nigerians. I'm not going to give a statistic because I don't want to be inaccurate, but come on. How many people in Nigeria can afford 250,000 naira a session for their kids to go to university? That to me is unfair. 250,000 naira is a lot of money. Where are people going to get that from? You need to understand, some people have got 3 children in university. Some people have got 1 child in university, and then they've got younger kids to take care of. And in addition to paying fees, you need to understand, they need to pay their house rents, they need to pay their bills, they need to feed, basically. And of course, they need to move to wherever it is they're going. Even if you're taking your own car or you're hopping on a bus or something, you still need to pay. So it's very sad that, the government would think 250,000 naira is a fair price for university tuition. I don't think it is in Nigeria. It's a ridiculous amount of money. It's ridiculous. I mean, 250,000 naira. I was in shock when I saw this, and I'm thinking, how do people go to university? We live in a country where the minimum wage is 18,000 naira a month, and people are still earning way below that. We live in a country where people are not paid their salaries for months. When I was younger, I remember one of my uncles saying, what they do in the civil service and things like that, where, it's allowed to owe people salary for 3 months, 4 months. What the people in charge do is they take everyone's salary. Maybe you've got like 50 people under you need to pay. You take their salaries, put it in a fixed deposit account for 3 months or 6 months. And then when you get that interest, you start paying people off. So basically, you don't care how those people are surviving. All you care about is getting that amount on it. And I think that's what's going on in Nigeria today. It's really unfair. Let's take a side detour to River State now. They're this group of, I call them hooligans anyways, hooligans in uniform, Team Arif. They're supposed to be like traffic wardens, things like that. They help to decongest traffic and try to check that people are driving the right way, people aren't stopping and parking indiscriminately, things like that. I don't think they do a good job anyways, because at the end of the day, there's always traffic in Port Harcourt. You see people, parking on the wayside like they're crazy. I think it was 2 days ago, I was standing on the road, I just walked out of a shop. And then I saw this cab just stop bang in the middle of the road, and this is NTA Road, which is a major road. And I'm looking at him like, oh God, are you an animal? Really? Are you normal? How do you do this? When there's space for you to clear by, decide to stop your clients. Things like that. So apparently that's what Team Arif is supposed to do, But the thing is, of course, those cabmen, they are not willing to spend any amount of money, any serious amount of money. Their cars are banked up as well. So sometimes they can just leave the cars with the Team Arif officials and move on and then go get another car, do the hire purchase thing, So a lot of them don't care. And because the Team Arif officials know they cannot get, money or bribes off them. They just let them do what they want and then focus on the private cars, you know? So once they see a very nice car, oh, that's food for this afternoon, you know? So all that while they leave the taxis, the buses, and the people driving erratically. Because trust me, if you've got a really nice car, I don't think you'd want to, scratch it or drive recklessly. Some people still do, but most people try to, just make sure their cars remain as clean as possible. So in terms of that, I feel like the commercial drivers are the nuisance on the roads. But because they've not got much money or they're not willing to give the corrupt officials of the team, I'm not saying all are corrupt, but definitely a lot of them are, because they're not willing to actually, give them any money. They just ignore them and then focus on the private cars because, no one wants to leave their car with those officials because that's a lot of money going down the drain. So now, considering they haven't been paid for, 6 months in River State, they haven't paid for 6 months. Since they haven't been paid for 6 months, they're actually on strike right now, apparently. Since they haven't been paid for 6 months, since August, yeah. I'm not saying it's justified for them to, try to get money off people, but they need to survive, So in a way, I don't exactly blame them because if they're well paid, in a regulated, manner where they're not owed for months and months, then they've got no excuse. And I'm not saying it's right for people to resort to bribes, but come on. There's something called desperation. 6 months you haven't been paid. You've got kids to take care of. You've got a wife. It's Christmas. Your kids need, new clothes and things like that. Your parents in the village need things. What do you expect them to do? So it's a huge problem. And now let's move back to university, Lagos State University. Yeah. So we live in a society where teachers are, deprived of their salaries for months at a time. And how are these people, supposed to take care of their kids and pay 250,000 naira? So basically, few students could afford it and the others that couldn't do their registration because the fees were not complete. So a lot of students were locked out. They couldn't, do their registration because they hadn't paid. And as a result, they couldn't write their exams. So the students at LASU got really upset and tried to disrupt the exams going on, the whole let's fail together. Not funny, I know, but yeah, that's what they were trying to do. And, they were determined that, these exams wouldn't hold. So there was a lot of violence, cars were destroyed, classrooms were, broken into. There was a lot of commotion. The police came, tear gas. So far, thank God, we've not heard of any fatalities, I understand the students. While I do not believe that violence is the way, I understand their grievance. Like, things can be achieved through negotiation and without violence. I think the students could have come together and organized a sit-out, like, say, you know what? It's peaceful. We're barricading the classes. We're barricading the Senate. We're not burning anything. We're not turning cars over. We're not harming anyone, but we're not just writing the exams because we need you to listen to us. I think it should have been a collective thing from all students. I think that's why they've got the student bodies, So, I really think violence is not the answer. Sometimes we can always try, the non-violent route because that can, help us listen better, help us understand better, and then reach, a proper resolution. That's what I think. I really don't think violence is the answer. And fingers crossed, we're still hoping and praying that, no one was hurt and no lives were lost. But it's a shame now because the school has been shut down indefinitely. So you can imagine after 6 months or something, it wasn't 6 months, about 4 or 5 months of being on strike, and then holiday, strikes over, holiday, a new session begins, and it's time to write the exam, and then this comes up. It's really depressing. Like, I feel so bad for these students. I feel really bad. I feel really, really bad for them. I really hope the government can, try to look into the situation. It's a state-owned university. I, spoke to some people. I tried to find out the costs of, education in River State where I live, and it wasn't that much. So I don't know why, the fees at Lagos State University are so expensive. University of Science and Technology, that's UST in Port Harcourt. Indigenes, pay, 32k, that's 32,000 for the returning indigenous students. And then fresh students pay 33,000. which is a very fair price. And then non-indigents returning pay 80,000, and non-indigents fresh applications pay 85,000. It's still a bit high, but I mean, there's always the advantage of, the indigenous thing. So I think it's fair. It could be cheaper, especially for the non-indigents, 80 and 85,000. It could be cheaper, but I think 250,000 is just way out of line, way out of line. I understand there should be some benefits for, certain people from certain regions, especially in the Niger Delta, where people have been through so much. So I can understand, if the fees are, lower for the indigents of the area. But still way better than 250,000 naira, which the students are protesting about. I mean, if, it's going to be 250,000 naira, then the government definitely should work on giving students some grants and loans and things like that to help them. Because at the end of the day, you just don't pay your fees. You need to buy your books. You need to pay for your accommodation. You need to pay for your transportation. You need to pay for your feeding. There's a lot that needs an overhaul. We'll take another break now, and then we'll revisit some very important issues. Don't go away.
Guaranteed to blow your mind. And if you feel me, show me a sign. Let me see you shake your behind. I'm gonna make you slow your tempo.
I'm gonna make you up your game.
I'm gonna strike you, I won't let you go.
Come on, you're my heart.
I feel they feel my demo.
Boy, you make me lose control.
Come on tonight, don't make you loco.
Come on, I can make you go low.
You got me crazy, baby.
Ting, 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 ting.
You make my head go hazy.
Ting, 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 ting. I'm tired of your talking. Boy, it's time you start walking.
Why you they wound me, baby?
Ting, ting.
Would there be ocean ready? Over a Jenny party. Whoa, Baba yo bodo.
No.
Mama yo bodo mo. Would there be ocean ready? Over a Jenny party. Whoa, Pastor yo bodo.
No.
Professor yo bodo mo. You drive me crazy, baby.
Ting, 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 ting.
You make my head go hazy.
Ting, ting, ting. I'm tired of your talking. Boy, it's time you start walking.
Why you they wound me, baby?
Ting, ting,
You drive me crazy, baby.
ting, ting.
You make my head go hazy.
Ting, ting, I'm tired of your talking.
Okay, guys, I've got a very serious issue I need to speak about. I think a lot of us have probably heard about that mysterious lake that appeared somewhere in Enugu State, which has apparently been christened River Jordan. Oh my goodness. It's very depressing to even think about it, because I saw some videos, and the condition of this miraculous water that was apparently, allegedly, a source of healing for a lot of people. Like, looking at the water, you can see it's just a bed of disease. Basically, the water is as dark as engine oil. It's really depressing, to think that people are so desperate that they would actually consider putting themselves in that water because they need healing. I saw some people put in old people, maybe their parents in there, and it actually made me cry, because I just realized that, wow, like, so much is going on in Nigeria that it's ridiculous. There's so much ignorance. I mean, wow. Okay, I don't think I can speak about this. I'll just move on. I'm not emotionally ready for this. I'll just move on and let's talk about, something else. But we'll definitely revisit this, that's for sure. Alright, so we've talked about some of our special gifts, New Year presents from the government, Right, let's talk about something which I'm absolutely gobsmacked about. Yes, it's about the Nigerian airline, Arik Air. I think it's called the Wings of Nigeria. Yes. I was on Twitter on Friday, and I saw some tweets by a certain lady. I didn't contact her for her story, but it's in the public domain, so I'll share it. Basically, she was trying to fly from Calabar to Lagos, And somewhere along the line, airline overbooked too many people. So they're basically trying to get people off the aircraft physically. Yeah. And there's scuffles with staff, staff of the airlines and passengers. And I don't know how that got resolved, but basically that airline, somehow they're like, oh, we're going to Abuja instead. When people are, mid-air. Okay. And then from Abuja, they're like, you know what, we're going to Kano. And then these people are in Kano. So basically what would have been probably about an hour, 20-minute flight from Calabar, or is that Uyo now, to Lagos, actually ended up with going to Abuja and Kano. Now, I must say this. I've never been to Kano State in my life. And if I was on that flight, I would be absolutely pissed off. But the problem was the staff were unconcerned, rude, unapologetic, and basically offered no apologies or explanations. Now I need to ask, why do companies and organizations in Nigeria feel like they're doing their customers a favor? No, you're not doing us a favor. We are paying you for a product or a service, and you should give us quality in product or service as the case may be. I'm going to Lagos, I'm not going to Abuja, and I'm definitely as heck not going to Kano. There were reports I think it was about 6 months ago, I saw it on Twitter, ground staff of Arik Air, again, I'm not too sure if it was Calabar or Uyo, but they got physical with customers who were upset about something. So I need to ask Arik Air, what kind of animals have you got employed as your staff in those areas? Whichever of the two cities it is. Because it's ridiculous that in 2014, even if someone was traveling with Bob Iswa, I can assure you none of the Bob Iswa drivers or staff would actually dream of assaulting the customers. And then, why is Arik Air doing this? You're an airline that is supposed to be fastest growing, very big, whatnot. And then you act that way to your customers. It's ridiculous because I've got family that were traveling to Lagos on a certain flight last week. And I'll tell you that flight was supposed to leave at 3:30, or was it 4:30? It was supposed to leave at 3:30, and then they got sent a text saying, you know what, that flight now leaves at 5:30. And then at 5:30, shortly before 5:30, they're like, oh, you know what, the flight is leaving at 4:30. And then at 4:30, oh, guess what, the flight is leaving at 6:30. And they're at the airport already. So it's ridiculous. People make plans. They choose their flights according to their schedules. You cannot toss people around without so much as an apology. It's ridiculous. And I don't understand why this is happening. It's happened to me once on a different airline. I think it was Aero, but that was just stupidity on the part of the staff. And I really created up a storm because I wasn't having it at all. If you're going to keep moving people's flights, you need to give a good enough reason. You just don't move it. Oh, guess what? We've moved it for another hour. Oh, we've moved it forward. How do you do that? People have got plans. People have got things to do, and people have planned their schedules. If you're going to disrupt it, you need to apologize, and you don't need to be rude about it. But unfortunately, it seems to me like, I'm going to speak from experience, I feel like Arik Air really needs to work on their customer service. I remember, I think it was 2011, I was traveling from London to Nigeria. And of course, Arik Air, huge baggage allowance. I love that. I never travel light, so that's why I like Arik, because of the baggage allowance. But after, the few incidents I've had and things I'm hearing, I think I might actually consider boycotting Arik forever, just like I boycotted BA. It's ridiculous because I was on this flight and it was February. You know how it is in February in England. I was freezing. I had taken a coach. I'd been on a coach 2 hours and I was cold. And I'd stayed at the airport for about 5 hours because I didn't want to, stand any chance of being late. I was tired and I was cold. On the aircraft, it was, a very empty flight. There weren't a lot of people on the flight. And, they handed out the usual blankets and things like that. And I got one. But because I was so cold, I realized I needed another. So I saw, one of the air hostesses walked by and I said, excuse me, can I please have another blanket? I'm really cold. And she goes, let me check if there are any remaining. And I'm thinking, this is a flight that, is barely a quarter full. How can you not have any left or, any over? I said, okay, fine. And then she kept walking by me. I was watching her because she had such a bad attitude. It was like 10 minutes, 20 minutes. About 30 minutes later, I realized she was ignoring me. And then I called her when she walked past. I'm like, excuse me, I'm still waiting for the blanket. And she goes, oh, there are none left. And she walks away rudely. Like me and her have ever met in our lives. And at that point, I'm saying, okay, cool. I'll just ask someone else. And then another air hostess walks by. She wasn't Nigerian. I said to her, can I please have a blanket? I'm really cold. And she says, sure. And in less than a minute, she brings me a blanket. Now, can you imagine? I was so upset. I mean, it took the other woman, or whatever she was, 30 minutes. And, she wasn't even really coming back to give me an answer. I basically had to tap her and ask for, what I asked for. And then the other lady brought it to me in about a minute. I was so upset. Like, I was half frozen, And then when she's walking past again, I said to her, I'm like, excuse me, I asked you for a blanket and you told me there were none left after, forever. But I just spoke to your colleague and in less than a minute, she got me a blanket. So what's going on? What's that about? And she starts giving stupid excuses. And I'm like, you know what? I don't even want to listen. And I was really upset about it. And then fast forward, I'm going back to England, Arik Air. And there's this male, what would I call him? I was going to say air hostess, but he's a guy, so I'd say flight attendant here. A male flight attendant. And somehow he's talking to me. He's like, hey, he asks me my name and I say Ungazi. That is my name after all. And he's walking by and every time he walks by, he stops to talk to me for a few seconds. And at this point, I'm like, okay, this is getting annoying. Like, I just want to travel in peace. I don't need anyone, just stopping by to talk to me every second. It's annoying. I thought it was really unprofessional, but he was just being nice. He just didn't know the limits. I was hungry on that flight because I hadn't had any meal from the house. I was rushing because I was scared I was going to miss my flight. I was so tired the next day. I had been running around. So I was actually looking forward to food. And then like 2 or 3 seats before me and and the guy comes to tell me, oh, he's sorry, food is finished. And I'm like, drat. Okay, it's just airline food. I'll just have a drink and then wait till I get home and have a good meal. Shortly before we land, I'm like, okay, let me go and freshen up in toilet, get my hair done and And I walk to the toilet and I'm in there. Somehow, because I'm so tired, I actually didn't even realize I didn't shut the door properly. I actually have a phobia for properly shutting airline doors because when I was traveling with my sister, we were really young at the time. I must have been 5 and maybe she was 8 or 9. And we got stuck in the airline toilets and we were so scared. And I think the claustrophobia I have started from that incident. So I'm very, always very particular about doors. Like, what if it doesn't come open? I'm claustrophobic. What happened to me, So I didn't exactly lock it properly the way I should have. Somehow the door almost comes open. One of the air hostesses shuts it for me. Yay, thank you, lady, wherever you are. And then I'm done and I'm coming out. What do I see? That male flight attendant is standing right in front of the toilet door, giving me his number. And I'm like, this is so unprofessional. Like, come on. Like, it's even rude. I mean, I'm in the toilet. You cannot just, gosh. I was pissed off, but I was like, you know what? He probably doesn't know any better. And, I took it. Of course, I was never going to call him. I probably chucked it somewhere in the seats anyway, so he'd see it. Yeah. Fast forward. I'm traveling to Nigeria, Arik Air 2012. Was that 2013? 2012. The air hostess had such a bad attitude. For some reason, she was around my side. She kept giving, there was this other girl. I didn't know her, but we sat beside each other. And it was weird because nobody had even said anything to her. And, can I have some water, please? Blah, blah, blah. And she's, just acting like there's a fight going on. And I'm like, what is it with these rude people? So, but there was this other guy. He was really nice. Like, everything you wanted. He would go out of his way with a smile, and he was doing his job gracefully. And I think that's something, like, if you don't have job satisfaction, don't take it out on your customers, really. I think people need to be happy with whatever jobs is they're doing. And in Nigeria, a lot of people are not happy with the jobs they're doing. It's, probably because it's lack of employment or whatnot, and they just find themselves stuck there. But basically, he was really nice, and he got us everything it was that, we wanted at any time. I love to keep hydrated. I get very thirsty on flights, so I always have to keep drinking water. And, once my mouth feels dry, I get motion sickness. So I always try to make sure I've got something cold that just keeps me refreshed, rehydrated. Is that the word? Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So, when I got down, I arrived in Nigeria, I went home, I spoke to one of my friends, and he was like, oh, first off, yeah, that aircraft was a tiny aircraft. It wasn't like the proper Boeing 737s, or is it Airbus? I don't know. The ones used on international flights. And then this nasty man says, with this flight, and this nasty passenger says, I hope this plane will reach Nigeria. And I turn around and give him a very dirty look, like, mister, keep your bad mouth to yourself, yeah? Don't be negative. So, my friend is telling me, they had problems with the flight. So that flight had to be brought in from Nigeria that day. So basically, they had flown 6 hours to the UK, picked us up, and then they were flying back. So he said, maybe some of them might have been, frustrated and things like that. I'm like, well, you don't take it out on people. You're doing your job. It's not like it's anyone's fault. Just smile and suck it up. So I think Arik Air really needs to look into these things. I've seen the pictures of the CEO in the Wings mag, and he's a young guy. So I would expect that, he'd be more interested in quality and customer service, because that's what makes any business. That's what will break any business as well. So yeah, I understand I've spoken a bit longer than I wanted, but I just wanted to share my experience because I've been a victim of bad customer care or bad service on Arik Air International. I don't think I really had a problem on domestic, but hey ho, I really think it's something they need to look into. And of course, going back to Sterling Bank up until now, over a month after, this alleged scam took place, Sterling Bank has not created those accounts. It has not refunded the money. It has not contacted any of the victims of this alleged scam. So I would urge all Nigerians to please avoid Sterling Bank, because if you can't trust an institution, then you shouldn't trust them with your money. And I'm still hoping somewhere an activist, who is a lawyer, would come up and say, you know what, I'll take this case, so that Nigerian companies learn that the customers must be treated right and cannot be taken advantage of. As far as I'm concerned, Sterling Bank misrepresented itself and took advantage of innocent people. And that to me is very, very sad. So, Sterling Bank, we're still calling on you to do the right thing. Return the money to the people who opened those accounts. Ask them if they still need their accounts. You can keep them open, but return their monies to them. And of course, you need to apologize as well for misleading them. We're still waiting for you to do the right thing. And just in case you're not aware of this Sterling Bank scam, please go to episode 4 of the Zibby Show. You can find it in the archives on YouTube or Spreaker, and you can listen to it and be the judge on this matter. Telecoms companies. Is anyone else tired of the countless texts you get? Unsolicited text. As far as I'm concerned, that's harassment, and that's something we'll definitely need to speak about another day. Trust me, Nigeria has its negatives, just like any other country on earth. It might seem magnified because obviously I'm Nigerian, but to my non-Nigerian viewers, I must tell you, Nigerians are generally beautiful people. Yes, you can find, a few of those bad eggs, like we call them, but here you can find bad eggs anywhere. Most of the Nigerians you'd meet are actually nice, happy people who would give you a huge hug. We've got some challenges like anywhere else, and the reason we're speaking out is because we want these challenges to be addressed and dealt with, because it affects everyone. So that's it. On to the great news. When I did my show and I spoke about how happy I was about, loving Nigeria, I did my top 10 reasons. And of course I listed, the football squad in Nigeria doing really well. And it seems like they've done it again. Yay! So our football team, African Nations Championship, and they were like down 3-0. Morocco had 3 goals and they had none. And at that point, a lot of people on Twitter are like, oh yeah, And then all of a sudden, second half, the Nigerians were on fire. It was 3-1, 3-2, 3-3. And guess what? We won! Yay! It's amazing. We actually came back and we won. It's an amazing feeling. I love football, and I think football is one of those things in Nigeria that just brings everyone together. And for a few minutes, we forget all our problems. I don't know if that guy on Twitter forgot it though. But, I just love football, and I'm really proud of my boys. So congratulations, Nigeria. We're in the semis. Yay. It's really great. Yes. Oh, it's that time again where I need to wrap up. You guys have no idea how much I love doing this. I love, the feedback. I love talking about what I think. I love meeting and interviewing these wonderful people. It's an amazing feeling. I just love it. Like, I live for this right now. I kid you not. I really enjoy it. So, apologies if sometimes I, talk a bit too much, but hey ho, that's just Zibby. And I'm just, being me. Now, let's talk about aloha. Aloha is from the Hawaiian language, which is, in Hawaii, in the United States. And it means affection, peace, compassion, and mercy. So it's such a beautiful word. Unofficially in English, it has also come to mean hello and goodbye. So when I use the word aloha, I'm wishing you affection, peace, compassion, and mercy from God. And when I'm saying goodbye, I'm giving you those blessings. And when I'm saying hello, I'm giving you those blessings. So it's a very powerful spiritual word. And when you just say aloha, you just feel it. You feel the aloha within you. And I'd recommend you listen to a song called Aloha Oi. It's a traditional song from the island that apparently was written by the last queen, Queen Liliuokalani. It's been a very interesting episode, and we've got so much more to come. So much more. With, of course, the usual, people who can inspire and motivate us to be better. Now I understand sometimes, it's okay to get frustrated with the government, but let's not forget the government is made up of individuals. So if you and I can do our bits, we are the people that can actually help the people around us, who in turn will go out and help the people around them. It's a whole circle. The more we send out love, the more we send out these aloha feelings, the more the society improves. We cannot change the world in one day, but we can change one person, and that one person starts from you. So please go out and do a good deed. Spread the aloha. I'll leave with these wise words. Surround yourself with the dreamers and the doers, the believers and thinkers, but most of all, surround yourself with those who see greatness within you, even when you don't see it yourself. Have a lovely week, and aloha.